We say always calm. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, dear devotees, once again for kindly being present here today. I am very thankful to ISKCON of Sacramento, especially Shankaran Prabhu, Queen Priya Mataji, Preman Prabhu, and Krishna Prabhu. Preman Prabhu, thank you for being the center of discussion yesterday. So, and thank you, Shankaran Prabhu, and Govind Priya Mataji, and Krishna, so, for being such a nice and loving devotee family here, supporting the congregation devotees.
So I think before you begin, we would like to express our gratitude at the beginning. Maybe in the middle we'll stop you. Let's then express our gratitude. Prabhuji has actually traveled all the way from India, taking the whole family with it. And I know Mataji and Hari also have been a lot of austerity long program.
It's not easy to keep traveling for a few months altogether with a family. If you're alone, you can be like Babaji, but with families. So that's off to Mataji and also to Hari that they are actually traveling with Prabhu, and we would like to express our gratitude that you are taking so much trouble and going around to enliven the devotees like Krishna consciousness. So that's loudly, even and request all the devotees from us, we also say, loudly express the gratitude by calling out.
Riva! Riva! Riva!
So, thank you, Prabhuji. Shuddhyatham mama dehasya jalasnanam karomyaham Sri Rupa Vak Sudhasnanam Swatmanaham Parishuddhaya. Shuddhyatham mama dehasya, for cleansing my body every day. Jalasnanam karomyaham, I take a bath using water. So I use water to purify my body every day. But Shri Rupa Vak Sudhasnanam Swatmanah Parishuddhaya. But in order to cleanse my soul every day, I take a bath in the nectarian words of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. So dear devotees, this bhajan which we just saw, it was by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. And I will quickly explain this bhajan. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami has said that all the prayers that we sing to the Supreme Lord, to Bhagavan, are categorized into three main types. And you can repeat the names of the three types after me. First type of prayer is called as Samprarthanatmika. What is it called as?
Samprarthanatmika.
Samprarthanatmika means it is a prayer to attain some sort of a relationship with Krishna, to get into sambandha or into a relationship with Krishna. That is known as Samprarthanatmika. So that is the first type of prayer. Second is known as, please repeat after me, Dainya Bodhika.
Dainya Bodhika.
Prayers which express humility. Bodhika expresses Dainya, humility. And third is Lalasa Mai. Lalsa Mai means praying for or hankering for a perfected position in the spiritual world. So Lalasa Mai means hankering for perfection in the spiritual world. So, for example, when we sing Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste. Praying for a relationship with him, basically. Obeisances to you, please accept this. Some prarthanatmika. Now, prayers like these are known as Dainya Bodhika because they are expressing humility. So, Sri Narottam Das Thakur is saying, Gauranga Karuna Karo Dina Dina Jana. Oh, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please bestow your mercy, understanding that I am most fallen and most wretched. Dina Dina Jana. And why is it so? Mosama Patita Prabhu. So, Nahi Tribhuvane. In the three worlds, there is nobody as fallen as myself. So next he says, Dante Trina Dhari Gaura. So holding a straw of grass between my teeth. In the previous ages, holding a straw of grass between the teeth was considered to be a sign of complete surrender. Because a person who would hold a straw of grass between his teeth, they would be showing that I am just like a mere animal in front of you. You see, a cow or a bull, they can be completely controlled by a human being. So when a person holds a straw of grass in their mouth, they are showing themselves to be as surrendered and controllable as a domesticated animal. I hope this is clear. So this is the reason why in previous ages people would hold a straw of grass between their teeth in order to show that I am just like a domesticated animal in front of you. So Dante Trinadhari, holding a straw of teeth between my teeth. Gaura, O Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Daki re tumhare, I call up to you. And what do you say? Kripa Kari, please bestow your mercy. Esho, come and sit. Amar Hridaya Mandire, in the temple of my heart. See, Antardarshan is everywhere in the writings of the previous acharyas. So please come and sit in the temple of my heart. And if I don't sit, then there is a small threat to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, in the next verse, a loving threat to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yadi daya na karibe, if you don't bestow your mercy, Patita Dekhiya, seeing that I am fallen. Patita Pavan naam kisya lagi, spoil your name as Patita Pavan. So don't try to ruin your own reputation by not saving me. Then he says, Padekshi Bhava Tufane. I am stuck in the whirlpool of material existence. Nahika Nishta. There is no deliverance in my sight. So somebody is stuck in a whirlpool in an ocean. So he needs a good boat. This is Shri Charana Tarani Dane. Tarani refers to boat. So please give the boat of your lotus feet, Dasa Karopar, and help this servant cross over the ocean. Finally, he prays for service. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Dasya Vanudas. This is the servant of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prarthana Kare Sada. And he's always praying this Narottam Das. So very simple, but very sweet prayer by Sri Narottam Das Thakur. Now, our today's subject matter, as I promised yesterday, that today we are going to speak about Srila Rupa Goswami's Padyavali. And it's a very deep and intricate subject matter. Sometimes I think whether, what will Rupa Goswami think of someone like myself trying to present his book Padyavali. But I pray to Srila Rupa Goswami that this small attempt will be, it will bring pleasure to him. So dear devotees, today I have come to sell some pictures. How many of you would like to buy some paintings from me? Please raise your hands. So I've come to sell some paintings today, dear devotees. And these paintings have extreme importance in the human form of life. Because any one of these paintings can potentially save us at the very crucial moment of our death. So in the program, we will try to draw paintings. Okay, all of us have to draw paintings. But in order to draw paintings, you don't exactly need a canvas or a brush. What you need is very simple. You need the canvas of your heart, and the colors and the brush will be provided by Srila Rupa Goswami and the other acharyas. So what we have to do is, we all have to draw some paintings in our heart. This is okay for the viewers. They're not able to see.
They're not able to see the screen. Just one. No, doesn't matter. Go ahead.
You put a different direction.
Yeah, you don't need to show me, you can just show them.
Wait a minute. No, this is good, Prabhu. Now it's working.
So I've come to sell some paintings, and I hope you will want to purchase them. And every painting has a big price upon it. So the painting is not cheap. The painting is expensive. But you have to pay a certain price for buying the painting. So nowadays, if you go to the art museum and Premanand Proof and say, are paintings cheap or expensive?
Quite expensive.
Quite expensive. If Premanand Proof, would you like to buy some paintings from Srila Rupa Goswami?
Definitely.
And you have to pay a price, a big price. What price are you willing to pay?
Anything?
Anything?
Anything.
He said anything in a recorded program.
I heard.
Okay. Learn Sanskrit, Premanand, that's the price you have to pay. Sing in the original language of Srila Rupa Goswami. Understand word by word. Break it down yourself and translate it. And relish it on the spot. The price you have to pay is, we are giving some discount. You have to memorize the verse in order to purchase it. Okay?
Sure.
So if you like any of the paintings, you'll have to memorize it. And then once you memorized it and understood it, then you can hang the painting on the walls of your hut. And at the moment of death, any one of these paintings, if you can remember, then as soon as you open your eyes in your next life, you'll find yourself to be in Krishna Lila as a blood relative of Krishna. Do you want a blood relationship with Krishna Premanand Prabhu?
Sure.
Sure.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So, in order to have that janma with Krishna, to have that birth with Krishna, we have to have a life in which we remember Krishna at the moment of death, and these paintings will help us. So, before we begin, I'd like to start with Mangalacharan, because Mangal Adini, Mangal Madhyani, Mangalantani Shastrani, Pratitani, Vaigir Purushani, Gavanti Ayushma Purushani. Yesterday we said that when Mangalacharan is performed in the beginning, middle, and end, those who study such literature become extremely powerful in their spiritual lives. So therefore, dear devotees, we'll begin with Mangalacharan. Most of us know these verses. You can kindly sing along with me. Om Agyan Vikirantasya Jnananjana Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Stoyam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunadanvitam Tam Sajivam Stavaitam Savadutam Variyana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Visakha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Padi Paschatyadekshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurakrishna Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Rami Nameshwari Prashabham Sute Devi Pranamai Nanpriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Padhanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nanda Koti Vaishnava ki jai. Thank God, Premanande. So, dear devotees, before we begin, I would like to say that this is a program on poetry. So, in order to relish poetry, we have to be Sahridaya. So, can anyone tell me what is the meaning of Sahridaya? Viveki Satsu. Okay.
Like-minded.
Like-minded, like-hearted. It's very important to be Sahridaya because poetry can be appreciated only by poets. It is written by poets and it is appreciated by poets. When Padyavali begins, Sri Rupa Goswami says, Padyavali Virichita Rasikair Mukunda. See, this Padyavali has been composed by many Rasika poets. So this work is not by Sri Rupa Goswami himself. He has compiled the writings of many previous great devotees. This is his favorite collection of verses, devotional verses. This is his anthology, or this is his private collection of devotional verses, which he has categorized into various topics. So all the devotee poets, great devotee poets from the past, they have come together and in Srila Rupa Goswami's collection of verses named Padyavali. But in order to relish that, we should also have Kavi Hriday, or the heart of a poet. So we should be like-minded. Because there are sometimes some individuals who don't have the heart of the poet, and then they are not able to relish poetry. See, devotional universe is a universe of poetry. Brahma Samhita says that every step is a dance and every word is a song, and there is a festival every day. That is what it is said in the Brahma Samhita. We should know how to appreciate poetry. And one point of time in ancient India, there was a Sanskrit poet named Bhartrihari. This Bhartrihari, one time he composed a very nice poetry and he sung it in his assembly. And after singing his poetry in the assembly, everybody was immensely moved. Some poets, they expressed their gratitude towards Bhartrihari, but there was one person who was absolutely unmoved. So he said to Bhartrihari, what is the use of poetry? I mean, can't you just discuss philosophy, Vedanta? So Bhartrihari understood that because of this one person, the mood of the assembly is spoiled. So Bhartrihari then said that if one dead fly falls in a packet of sweets, it is capable of giving diarrhea to the entire marriage party. Right? Yes. Similarly, if one Rasika falls in an assembly of Rasikas, he is capable of giving a headache to the entire assembly of Rasikas. And then Bhartrihari said, Sahitya Sangeet Kala Vihina Sakshat Pashu Puchha Vishanahina Trinam Nakhadan Api Jiva Manas Tadbhagadeyam Paramam Pashunam. Bhartrihari said, Sahitya Sangeeta Kala Vihina. Very important reminder, we are in arts college. Sahitya, literature, Sangeet, music, Kala, arts, Vihina, somebody who is devoid of that. Bhartrihari says, Sakshat Pashu is directly an animal, two-legged animal. Yeah, but one difference. Puchha Vishanahina. Such a two-legged animal doesn't have a tail and horns. Yes. And one more difference. Rinam Nakhadan Api Jiva Manas. This two-legged animal who has no taste for poetry, he doesn't eat grass like the four-legged animals. Api Jiva Manas. But he still survives. He lives. Tadbhagadeyam Paramam Pashunam. Actually, it is the great good fortune of the four-legged animals that this two-legged animal doesn't eat grass. Because if he would eat grass, there would be no grass remaining for the four-legged animals. So, Bhartrihari in this way established the fact that one has to have a kavi hriday, the heart of a poet, in order to establish his poetry. So, dear devotees, we will begin with a statement from Srila Prabhupada. And who has a good voice? Devanu Prabhu, are you willing to volunteer again?
Sure.
Okay. There should be a.
We have the minds.
So, Srila Prabhupada has something to say about Srimati Radharani and Krishna, especially in relation to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Please read Prabhupada.
Sure. The form of the Lord with a flute in his hand is the most attractive, and the one who is the most sublimely attractive is Srimati Radharani, Radhika. She enjoys supremely blissful association with Krishna. Sometimes people cannot understand why Radhika's name is not mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, however, the name Radhika can only be understood from the word Aradhika. Aradhita. In the verse beginning with the word Aradhito Nunam, Srimad Bhagavatam, which indicates that Srimati Radharani enjoys the highest loving affairs with Krishna.
Yeah. So, is the name of Srimati Radharani mentioned anywhere in Srimad Bhagavatam? Srila Prabhupada says, there is a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. Please repeat after me. Anayaradhito nunam. So this is the phrase which Prabhupada is quoting. Anaya aradhito nunam. Definitely Krishna was worshipped by her. And in Anaya radhito, Srila Shukadeva Goswami has cryptically mentioned the name of Srimati Radharani. That is the only place in the Srimad Bhagavatam where her name is indirectly mentioned, and Prabhupada speaks about it. So, dear devotees, today we are going to enter into the universe of Katyavali, which is filled with the pastimes of Srimati Radharani and Krishna. But our journey has to begin before understanding what is the qualification of the person who is trying to speak. And frankly, I don't feel very qualified to speak on the subject matter, but still I am taking the bold step to speak something today. So why should we hear from someone who is unqualified? If you ask, then I have one verse to say. Has Rupa Goswami already not written everything? Why are you presenting it again? Right? So there is a very nice verse which I would like to say. Please repeat after me. Paladapi grahitavyam yuktamuktam manishvidhi davera vishaye timna pradipasya prakashanam baladapi grahitavyam. You can accept something even from a child. See a person who is sitting in front of you, he may be a little child in front of Rupa Goswami. But balad api grahitavyam. Please accept this gift even from a child like me. Yuktam uktam, because what I am going to say is yuktam. Yuktam means it is the bona fide voice of Rupa Goswami. Even though the person who is speaking is Bala, he is simply a child. And then an analogy is given to help understand this point. Raver avishaye kimna. Does the sun not illuminate everything in the world? Devanand Prabhu. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Think carefully. Raver avishaye kimna pradipasya prakashana. There are some things in the world which still remain in the dark after the sun rises. And those things are sometimes illuminated by a small lamp. Is it true or not?
It is.
So, similarly, the great acharyas are like the sun. But sometimes there are some places which can also be illuminated by a tiny lamp like this. So, with this in mind, I am trying to speak something. And this is the translation of the verse.
The wise should honor even the words of a child, if such words are bona fide. Does not a teeny lamp illuminate a place where the sun cannot reach?
Yes. So, with this mood in my mind, I am trying to present Sri Kadyavali.
So, if they fight from that side, are we qualified to listen?
Actually, that's what I was thinking.
So therefore, I had spoken so much on being a poet, right? The 26 qualities of a Vaishnava. One of the quality is Kavi. So we should have a taste for poetry. Srila Prabhupada, okay, I would like to ask a question. Did Srila Rupa Goswami write poetry? Please everybody answer. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. I didn't hear. Did Srila Rupa Goswami write poetry?
Yes.
Now, his disciple, did Srila Raghunath Das Goswami write poetry?
Yeah.
Yes. Srila Jiva Goswami, did he write poetry?
Yes.
Then his disciple, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, did he write poetry? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, Premanand Prabhu.
Not yet.
What's going on, Premanand Prabhu? Will the Ganga Pravaha stop in your generations? Or will it continue? It has to continue, right? So you have to have the heart of a poet in order to. It is Hare Krishna movement. What is the meaning of movement? Things have to move. Otherwise, we will start calling ourselves Hare Krishna stagnant after a few years if we don't write new poetry and literature in every generation. So this is just a sample taste of what the acharyas are expecting from us. Did Srila Rupa Goswami write Padyavali so that it will be kept in a museum and 500 years later some PhD scholar will come and write a thesis on Rupa Goswami and say Rupa Goswami was a Hindu philosopher belonging to the cult of Chaitanya. With bhakti in his mind, he wrote so many verses which are full of emotional devotion. Would you like such people to read Padyavali, or should we devotees read Padyavali? Who should read Padyavali? So it is written for us, dear devotees. So let us not have any doubts in our mind that the compilation was meant for us Gaudiya Vaishnavas. If Srila Rupa Goswami would see us, all of us today, he would say only one thing, that please relish Sri Padyavali. Rupa Raghunath Pade Haive Rakuti. What's the next line? Tabe Hama Puja Bose Yugalar Paripari. Rupa Raghunath Pade. What is the meaning of Rupa Raghunath Pade?
The lotus feet of Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das.
And the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami. Haive Akuti. If I have attachment, Tabe Hama Puja Bo, then I will understand. Yugala Pariti. What is Yugala Pariti? The loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. Rupa Raghunath Pade. What is the meaning of Rupa Raghunath Pade, Prabhu?
Lotus feet of lotus.
Pada has two meanings. One is
For its designation.
or no. Okay. Pada also means poetry.
Poetry. Okay. For the
Rupa Raghunath Pade Hoive Akuti. When I have attachment to the padas
that's all.
or poetry written by Srila Rupa and Raghunath Das Goswami, Tabe Hum Puja Vase Yugala Pariti. Then I will be able to understand the loving affairs of Srimati Radha and Krishna. So this, dear devotees, is Rupa Raghunath Pada. It is not only the lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath Goswami, it is the poetry written by Rupa and Raghunath Goswami. Dear devotees, Srila Rupa Goswami would like to give encouragement to all of you at the beginning of this entire session. Srila Rupa Goswami has a verse for all of you, where he is analyzing the heart of each and every one of you. Would you like to know the nature of all of your hearts? Yes or no? Yes. No?
Yes.
Yes. Rupa Goswami is analyzing. He sees that you have the heart of a Vaishnava. So Srila Rupa Goswami is encouraging all of you, and he composes a verse for all of you, dear devotees. This verse is in the meter Shikharini, and Srila Rupa Goswami is glorifying all of you. Same meter as Jagannath Ashtakam. I will try to sing. Meter is slightly difficult. Please try to repeat after me. Gaviropya Shrantam Duradigama Paro Pinitara Aharyam Maryadam Dadadapi Hare Raspadamapi Let's try again. Aharyam Maryadam Dadadapi Hare Raspadamapi Aharyam Maryadam Dadadapi Hare Raspadamapi Sadam Stoma Premanyudayati Samagre Sthagayitum Sadam Stoma Premanyudayati Samagre Sthagayitum Vikaram Naspairam Jalanidhiri Vendo Prabhavati Vikaram Naspairam Jalanidhiri Vendo Prabhavati Srila Rupa Goswami says he is comparing your heart to something. Dear devotees, he is saying, first and foremost, Rupa Goswami is saying, Gabhiropi Ashranta. Rupa Goswami is saying, please let's imagine an ocean. Can all of you in your hearts draw a painting of the ocean? Yes. The ocean has certain qualities. Please hear carefully, dear devotees. Gabhira. Is the ocean deep? Yes or no? Yes. Pi Ashrantam. But the ocean is always turbulent. There is always some disturbance in the ocean. Gabhiropi Ashrantam. Duradhigama Paro. And it is difficult to cross over the ocean and attain the other side. Yes or no? Yes. Pi Nitaram Aharyam Maryadam Dadhati. The ocean is always swelling, but still it has fixed borders, Aharyam Maryadam, which it never crosses. Yes, it's always swelling. The rivers are always entering into the ocean. But does the ocean ever cross its borders? No. If the ocean crosses the borders, it will be here in our homes. But it never crosses its borders. Harer Aspadamapi. Is the ocean not a place of residence of Hari? Yes or no? Yes. Satam Stomah Preman Yudayati Samagre Sthagayitum. But dear devotees, when the full moon rises in the night, in the dark, above the ocean, does the ocean not swell up, forget its boundaries, and start overflowing? Yes or no? Yes. Srila Rupa Goswami says, exactly similar is your heart. Premanand Prabhu, exactly similar is your heart. Gabhira, is your heart not deep, O dear Vaishnavas? Yes. Be Ashrantam, is your heart not experiencing disturbances from time to time because of separation from Krishna? Yes. Duradhigama Paro, is your heart not difficult to understand? It is difficult to understand the heart of Vaishnava. It's difficult to reach the other ends of the heart of a Vaishnava. Sri Nitaram Aharyam Maryadam. Dear devotees, are all of you following Vaidhi Bhakti? Yes or no? Yes. So you have fixed borders in your heart, fixed boundaries in your heart, which you never cross. You do not display your emotions in public. Dadadapi Harer Aspadamapi. Is your heart not a resting place of Shri Hari? Yes or no? But sometimes in great darkness in the heart, when Shri Krishna Chandra, the full moon of Bhagavan Shri Krishna rises, and sometimes you see within your heart Shri Krishna and you feel him, does your heart not cross its boundaries, swell up, and do you all not start crying from time to time? Yes or no? So dear devotees, all glories to you, because your heart is exactly like an ocean. So this is Srila Rupa Goswami's glorification for all of the devotees. So, Prabhu.
The ocean of the devotees' hearts are gambhir, unfathomably deep.
Okay,
Asrantam, turbulent.
okay,
Harid asvadan, the bodhikari.
yes.
Aharyam maryadam vadadi.
Dunatikama par.
Having fixed yet immeasurable boundaries.
Yes.
There is an additional common quality between these two.
And the additional common quality is that when the full moon rises, the ocean forgets its boundaries and swells over. Similarly, when Sri Krishna Chandra, the full moon of Krishna, rises in the heart of the devotee forgets the boundaries of Vaidhi Bhakti and starts crying out of ecstasy. So this is dear devotees, all of you. Srila Rupa Goswami is about to present something from the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna. But we will begin with a very simple verse. Okay, and this verse has a very tricky question involved in it. Is Srimati Radharani present with Krishna always? Yes or no? What is the answer?
Yes.
Is Srimati Radharani present with Krishna even when Krishna is in the battle at Kurukshetra?
Yeah.
Yes. How is it so?
Very hard.
Okay. Anyone else can say? How is Srimati Radharani present with Krishna even in Kurukshetra? Do you want to try?
That's probably still in heart.
Okay. Would somebody else want to try?
She is a Shakti of Radha.
These are all tattva-based answers. Okay. Now there is a Rasik answer to all this. Is Srimati Radharani present in Kurukshetra? So there is a very nice verse written by an anonymous author. Please repeat after me. Arjuna Krishna Samyukta Karanam Yatran Dhavati Netram tu Kurukshetram Didi Mukdem Vrashamahe. Arjuna Krishna Samyukta. Okay. Arjuna along with Krishna. Karanam yatra anudhavati is running behind someone. Is running behind whom? Karna. Can you see the scene in your heart? Arjuna along with Krishna is running behind whom? Karna. Yatra anudhavati. Tan netram tu Kurukshetram. Oh Sri Radha, your eyes are exactly like Kurukshetra. Iti mukdem vrishamahe. I honestly feel like this. This is what the poet is trying to say. Did we understand?
Eyes are the whole Kurukshetra.
Oh, again, that's what. Okay. Arjuna Krishna Samyukta. Arjuna along with Krishna. Karnam Yatranudhavati is running behind Karna. Now, in your heart, visualize the eyes of Srimati Radharani. Because dear devotees, in Sanskrit, the term Arjuna means the friend of Krishna, Arjuna. Arjuna also means the color white. Okay, Arjuna also means the color white. Krishna also means Bhagwan Shri Krishna, but Krishna also refers to a color. Which color? Black. So Arjuna, Krishna Samyukta. Okay, white along with black is running towards Karnam Yatran Dhavati, is extending all the way towards whom? Karna also refers to ears. One netram to Kurukshetram. Oh Srimati Radharani, your eyes are exactly like Kurukshetra. Iti Mukdem Vrashamani. So this is Kurukshetra. The poet is able to see Srimati Radharani even in Kurukshetra. Can you see how Arjuna along with Krishna is running behind Karna? Yes? So these dear devotees is the universe of devotee poets. Here is the translation.
In Kurukshetra, Arjuna, accompanied by Krishna, chased after Karna. O simple-hearted Radha, I perceive the same Kurukshetra in your eyes, but Arjuna, white color, accompanied by Krishna, black color, is chasing after Karna, the ear, even today.
So, no tattva. Absolutely no. This is the poet's audience. So we will keep aside tattva for some time. This is Rasa. Just 100% pure mango juice. All the effort has already been taken. All you have to do is simply relish. Dear devotees, our pastimes of our story of Krishna begins in Dwarka. Because Krishna, I am beginning our story of Krishna from Dwarka. Krishna has already reached Dwarka. He was earlier in Vrindavan and then he left Vrindavan. And when Krishna left Vrindavan, everybody cried. Yes? But Krishna did not cry. Did Krishna cry when he left Vrindavan? Absolutely not. Krishna was just saying, I will come back. He gave an assurance to everyone, I will come back. Krishna never cried. And then Krishna went to Mathura, and from Mathura, Krishna went to Dwarka, thinking that all the Brajvasis will cry in separation from him. But in Dwarka, something else is happening. Because you see, this is the nature of love. In love, does only one person cry or both people cry? Is it called love if only one person cries? Or is it love if both people cry? Both have to cry. Yes? So, if there is love between Krishna and Srimati Radharani and the Gopis and the Brajvasis, if Krishna loves his parents, obviously Krishna also has to cry. So there is a very nice verse in the Padyavali where Krishna is crying in Dwarka. And this verse, this is the scene in Dwarka. Krishna is, being served by all the queens and maid servants. He is the king of Dwarka, Dwarkadish. But sometimes at night he cries. And this is what he says when he is crying. This verse is in the meter Shardul Vikritam, same meter as Shardul Kami Ashtakam. I'll try to sing it, please repeat after me. Tambulam swamukhartha charvitamita ko me mukhe nikshipe. Tambulam swamukhartha charvitamita ko me mukhe nikshipe. Dunmarga prasritam cha chadu vachanai ko mam vashe sthapaye. Dunmarga prasritam cha chadu vachanai ko mam vashe sthapaye. Ehyehiti vidur sarita bhuja swange nidhaya dhuna. Ehyehiti vidur sarita bhuja Swange Vidaya Guna Kelisrasta Shikhandakam Mama Puna Vyazuya Padnatuka Kelisrasta Shikhandakam Mama Puna Vyazuya Padnatuka. Krishna is saying Tambulam Swamukharda Charvitamita. Tambulam means pan. When Krishna was in Vrindavan, Mother Yashoda, she used to chew half the pan and remaining half she would put in the mouth of Krishna. Right? So Krishna remembers. Tambulam swamukhartha charvitamita. O me mukhe nikshipe. Today who will eat half of the pan and lovingly feed me the remaining half of that pan? Is there anybody in Dwarka today who can dare to do that? As soon as somebody does that, the soldiers will, immediately arrest that person. So who is there who will feed pan to Krishna, that to half chewed pan from their own Who will feed their own remnants to Krishna today? The devotees, they eat the remnants of Krishna, it is said. Is there some devotee whose remnants Krishna eats? Yes, Mother Yashoda. But that's not possible in Dwarka. उन्मार्ग प्रसृतं च चाटु वचनैः को मां वशे स्थापयेत् उन्मार्ग प्रसृतं. And tomorrow, if I start following a deviated path in life, who will call me near and say, Hare Krishna, don't do like this. You're a nice boy, man. Why are you behaving in this way? Who will say today? Today, if I follow a deviated path, that becomes the standard norm when people start worshipping me. There was a person, Kal Yavan, who came and I started running away from him. Actually, when a Yavan comes in front of an Arya, the Arya should stand and the Arya should defend his kingdom. But this Kal Yavan came and Krishna ran away. Unmarga. And in Bhagavad Gita, you are saying proudly, Yuddhe Chapya Palayanam. The Kshatriya should never show his back in a war. And then you are on Unmarga, you are not following your own ethics. And then you become worshipable for that. Now, who is going to call me and say, Krishna, don't behave like this? Go Mam Vashe Sthapayat. Who will bring me again in control? There is nobody here today who can do that. Ehye hiti vidura sarita bhuja. And with wide open arms, who will call Ehi, come here Krishna, come here Krishna. Swanke Nidhaya, and who will make me sit on her own lap. And Keli Sarasta Shikhandakam, and my peacock feather has slightly fallen out of position due to playing too much. So who will, once again rearrange it and tie my peacock feather nicely today? Is there anybody in Dwarka who can do this for me today? Any single person in Dwarka who can do this for Krishna? Absolutely no. You thought that by leaving Vrindavan, I will put all of them in distress. But you don't know that the river of separation has to flow both ways. And you also have to cry in this separation. So if you feel that by making Vrindavan Vasis cry, you will be happy, then Krishna, you have made a big mistake in your life. Because in the river of love, when somebody drowns, they all have to cry. Especially when there is Visakha or separation. This is the translation. This is the translation.
Translation. Now, who will take half-chewed betel nuts from her own mouth and place them in mine? Now, who will subdue me with sweet words and when I depart from the path of righteousness? Now, who will say, come here, wave her arm, place me on her lap, and retie my peacock feather when it falls due to playing around in Raja?
There is absolutely nobody who can. See, there is translation, but to chew word by word is a very different experience. So that is what is required when we are relishing poetry. Chew word by word. Muhuraho rasika, hui bhavuka. Pibata bhagavatam rasam. Drink the rasa of Srimad Bhagavatam. Muhuraho. Every day. Don't let a single day pass. Otherwise, life in Sacramento is very difficult. Very difficult. Not only in Sacramento. Everywhere. Changing one's location won't solve the problem. We can't solve the problem by trying any material means. Vyasadeva tried to write 17 Puranas in order to solve the problems of human beings. And in the end, Vyasadeva himself suffered from depression at the end and saying, I am not able to solve my own problems. And then Narad Muni came and said, Vyasadeva, why are you depressed? Are you happy associating with the body and mind? Are you done with your material solutions? In 17 Puranas, are you done with all your solutions? Narad Muni sarcastically asked him. Vyasadeva said, well, you know everything in my heart. Why don't you point it out to me? What is my weakness? And Narad Muni said, you have not glorified Bhagwan sufficiently. What is the point of trying to change material circumstances in this universe? The best thing is to change the universe itself, enter into another universe of Bhagavad Bhakti. This universe is worthy of discarding. There is nothing else that can be done with this universe. There is only one thing that can be done. What can we do with this universe? Discard it and enter into another universe, the universe of devotee poets. In this universe, nothing is going to change the fact that it is Dukkhalayam and Ashashvatam. These two adjectives will forever be attached to the material universe, no matter which part of the universe you are in. Brahma Bhuvanal Loka Punaravartinorjana. That this fact will always remain. That even if you reach the abode of Brahma, there will always be some difficulties. But in the universe of rats, there are no difficulties. Krishna is kind. But do we feel rust within our hearts? Yes. Is it happy? Is it happiness or not? Yes. Do we feel some transcendental happiness on hearing the words of Srila Rupa Goswami? Yes. So even though it's all crying, it is transcendental happiness. The crying in the spiritual world is full of transcendental happiness. And this is what we all aspire for. Let us cry for Krishna. Because that crying is the supreme happiness for a devotee. There is no greater happiness than crying in the service of Sri Krishna. Dear devotees, Krishna remembers the time when everything began in Vrindavan. In Dwarka, his mind goes back to Sri Vrindavan. When everything started, it was all fresh. And when did it start? When Krishna, Srimati Radharani, and all the gopis, they grew up to a certain age where for the first time they felt attraction to each other. Dear devotees, technically, in Shastra, this is known as, please repeat after me, Purvarag. Purvarag means the stage of budding love. Srila Jiva Goswami, in his Gopal Champu, has defined what is Purvarag. And I will speak this verse in the meter Shikharini, same meter as Jagannath Ashtakam. Please sing after me. Prasange Chavikshastrihitamanu Vilashitam. Prasange Chavikshastrihitamanu Vilashitam. Prithagloka Prati Samayam Udveka Kalana. Prithagloka Prati Samayam Udveka Kalana. Ime Bhava Yugme Yuga Paduditasta Gramavasha. Ime Bhava Yugme Yuga Paduditasta Gramavasha. Aho durastityorapi dayitayore karuchita. Aho durastityorapi dayitayore karuchita. The first time when Srimati Radharani and Krishna, they grew up and they started becoming little attracted to each other. At this point of time, they are not able to freely speak to each other. Why? Because there are social restrictions. In today's age, all the Purvarag has been destroyed. There is no Purvarag remaining in society anymore. Why? Because as soon as in school, a boy starts liking a girl, he immediately looks up on Facebook or on Instagram what is her name, and within 2 minutes he finds out everything about her. And all the suspense is destroyed and the Purvarag is finished right there and there. But in order to understand what is Purvarag, we have to go to an age where these hindrances to Purvarag, such as Facebook and Instagram, were not present. In those ages, when a person liked another person, there was absolutely no means to know about them. They have only heard about that person from a distance. Maybe once or twice they have glanced from the corners of their eyes. And they cannot glance too much. Why? Because if they glance too much, then the other person might get suspicious. And Jiva Goswami says, Prasangecha, this is Jiva Goswami's verse, beautiful verse about Purvarag. Prasangecha, Prasangecha means the desire to be introduced to each other. I hope you're able to understand the desire to be introduced to each other. Viksha sprihitam spriha, the desire to glance at each other. Anushanga Relishitam, and the desire to meet each other and talk to each other. This desire is present. Prithagloka, and feeling enmity towards people who are opposed to, our meeting. So this is Prithagloka. There are some people who are opposed to two lovers meeting. For example, there are some common friends and then there are some common enemies also, right? So common enemies are Prithagloka, Dvesha. So Dvesha, feeling resentful of people who are against our potential relationship. Prati Samayam, and always Udvega Kalana, always feeling agitation in the heart, especially while taking rest at night. Udvega Kalana, feeling agitated at heart. These are all symptoms of Purvara, dear viewers. Ime Bhava, these feelings, Yugme, Yugapad Uditas, in both Radha and Krishna arose simultaneously. All these feelings which have been described simultaneously arose in Srimati Radharani and Krishna. Tat Krama Vashat, because both of them were sequentially growing up and their age was ripe enough. Jiva Goswami says, Aho, how wonderful. Durasthityor api daitayor ekaruchita. For the first time it is happening that two people who are situated far away from each other are developing the exact same sentiments in their hearts. Has it ever happened before that two people who are situated far away from each other are developing the exact same sequence of feelings in their heart? It has never happened before. It happens only in one stage of love. And what stage of love is it? Purva. Okay. So please remember this, dear devotees, very important. These concepts very rarely taught. So please memorize these concepts nicely, because these concepts are what are going to help us to enter into the domain of Raganuga Bhakti. There is something beyond Vaidhi Bhakti, and that is Raganuga Bhakti. And if not in this life, then in which life? So if we want to tackle the question of Raganuga Bhakti in this life, we should understand some basic concepts that the Acharyas have given us. Actually, I should have directly started with the verse of Purvarag, but it is important to introduce the concept of Purvarag. So I have given this verse from Relishing Goswami. This verse is from Gopal Champu. Prabhuji, you can read the translation.
The desire to be introduced to each other, the desire to see each other freely and meet each other, the natural disdain for those who prevent such a meeting, and the signs of mental agitation at all times. These symptoms were produced simultaneously in Radha and Krishna. Wonderful is the love which produces similar desires in two entities who are situated far away from each other.
Yes. So this is what happened, dear devotees, when there was Purvarag. So Srimati Radharani is also feeling Purvarag, and she cannot express it freely. Krishna is also feeling Purvarag, and he cannot express it freely. Krishna in Dwarka remembers all these feelings of Vrindavan. Now he cannot have Purvarag. Is there any Purvarag in Dwarka? Please tell me. He is married already. All the Purvarag is finished. After 25 years of marriage, if you ask Krishna, do you feel Purvarag? Krishna will cry. There was only one place in the world where he felt Purvarag. Which place was that? And there was only one age in which he felt Purvarag. And that was when he was growing up. Krishna is now well beyond that age. And Krishna is well beyond that forest of Vrindavan. And he was happy when he was leaving Vrindavan, but he never realized what he left behind in Sri Vrindavan. So who's the loser here? Yeah, we should say confidently. Who lost out? Krishna lost out.
So then we should not watch the YouTube and say, no, what is the Facebook and start. That's what. You want to enjoy.
No, our age is well beyond. We already are. It's time to look towards the Vanaprastha ashram.
For the younger age.
Younger age, it is advisable. Prabhu?
No.
So, if if you don't want to destroy Purvarag, so here are some mechanisms. Don't use Facebook or Instagram. Okay. So the first time Srimati Radharani experienced this Purvarag, there's a very nice verse in Padyavali which specifies her Purvarag. And in this verse, Srimati Radharani is speaking to one of her friends. This verse is in the same meter, Shikharini. I will try to sing it. Meter is slightly difficult to sing. Please repeat after me. Can everyone see the verse? Please repeat after me. Puro nila jyotsna tadanu mreganabi parimala. Puro nila jyotsna tadanu mreganabi parimala. Tato lila venu kvanitamanu kanchi kalarava. Tato lila venu kvanitamanu kanchi Tado vidyutvalli valayita chamatkar lahari. Tado vidyutvalli valayita chamatkar lahari. Tarangalavanyam tadanu sahajanam udagat. Srimati Radharani is saying to her friend, Lalita Sachi, one day I was walking on the path of the Yamuna, and then suddenly something happened. What happened? Puro Nila Jyotsna. I suddenly saw a brilliant bluish light in the forest. Dear devotees, you have to draw a painting in your heart. In that dark forest, at a distance, I saw a brilliant bluish light. Would you like to see a brilliant bluish light in the dark forest? Yes. Dear devotees, this is what she saw. Puro Nila Jyotsna. So in the forest, I was walking towards Yamuna. I had nothing else in mind. Very simple hearted girl. And suddenly, down there in the forest, I saw a brilliant bluish light. Tadanu mriganabhi parimalas. So I started following the light, as simple-hearted as I was. And suddenly there was mriganabhi parimala. Parimala, there was the fragrance of mriganabhi, the fragrance of musk, deer musk. Okay, what happened next? Tatoli navenu. And as I went further, I heard the sweet sounds of a flute entering into my ears. Vanitamanu kanchi, and then I went further. Kanchi kalarava. Then I heard the ankle bells of a certain person playing very nicely in rhythm. And then when I went further, Tato Vidyudvalli, I saw a brilliant flash of golden lightning. These were his clothes, dear devotees. Valaita chamatkar lahari. And when I went near, it was as if each and every bodily limb of mine was filled with waves and waves of chamatkar, of wonder. Taranga lavanyam. Oh Sati, it was as if lavanya. Lavanya is a technical term. It means beauty radiating from each and every bodily limb was entering within me through all my senses. Sahajananda udagat. And that happiness which I attained, I can never attain again, as hard as I try. This dear devotees is Srimati Radharani's Purvarag. Could she speak to Krishna there freely? she only had one glimpse of Krishna. There is some hidden message in the poetry, dear devotees, because the poets, they don't just write simple poetry. There is some intricate meaning. The poet is trying to say something. Some hunters in the forest, they catch their prey by sight. Some hunters in the forest, they catch their prey by sound. Some hunters in the forest, they catch their prey by fragrances. But here is that hunter in the forest who caught me through all my senses. But there is a difference. When a hunter catches a prey, the prey feels immense anxiety and anxiousness and pain. But when this particular hunter caught me through all my senses, Sahajananda Udagat, I am feeling happiness in all my senses since that day, and I don't know what I should do. This, dear devotees, is the experience of Purvarag in Srimati Radharani. So here is the translation.
Dear Sakhi, first I saw a splendid blue effulgence, then I smelled the fragrance of musk, and then I heard a playful flute music. Then I heard the sweet tinkling of Astasha bells. Then I saw waves of wonderful handsomeness encircled by a stationary lightning flash. As a result of this, I experienced immense natural bliss within myself.
Yes. Dear devotees, Srila Rupa Goswami managed to change your universe. If you leave your body in this universe, 100% guarantee. Yad Gatvan Animartante Tad Dhamma. 100%. Leave your body in this universe, Rupa Goswami's universe. Do not leave your body in Sacramento. Try to leave your body in Srila Rupa Goswami's universe. It's very important to enter into this universe. Very important. We think sometimes that we are executing devotional service. But devotional service it requires a complete change of consciousness. International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And it is very important that Krishna should remain within our consciousness. At this point of time, do we feel Krishna to be in our consciousness because of Rupa Goswami's words? Rupa Goswami was like this 24 hours of the day. Imagine staying in this universe 24 hours a day. Then no matter where you stay in the world. Yes, Smaranam. Yeah. It's very important to have a very good culture of Smaranam for all the devotees.
So this is basically Smaran.
Yes. It's the most important thing of Raganuga Bhakti. To remember Krishna. Always remember Krishna. Never forget Krishna. International Society for Krishna. What is the function of consciousness? Does consciousness see, hear, smell, or remember? Remember. Okay. So when she went back to her Sakhi and she told all this, then Srila Jiva Goswami makes a remark on this. It's a very nice verse, dear devotees. Very simple verse, but very nice verse. Please repeat after me. Krishnasyaanyatra drikprantah sadbhi shastra phalam smritam antatasu punah soyam edi shastra phalam matam. Jiva Goswami says, Krishnasya anyatra drikprantah. If Krishna looks with his sidelong glance, anyatra, on any person in the world. Prabhu, if today Krishna looks at you with his sidelong glance, today, before the night ends, if Krishna looks at you with his sidelong glance, Jiva Goswami says, Sadhvi, all sadhus will glorify. Shastra phalam, you attained the pointed conclusion of all shastras. Yes or no? Yes. Does everybody agree? Yes. Please say loudly. Yes?
Yes.
He attained the pointed end of reading all the Shastras. Hanta, alas, Jiva Goswami says. But this very sidelong glance, when it falls on Srimati Radharani, It is not Shastra Phalam, it is Shastra Phalam. It is like the pointed end of an arrow. Dear devotees. When Krishna's sidelong glance falls on anybody else in the world, it is Shastra Phalam. It is the pointed end of Shastra. You have reached the conclusion of all Shastras. Anta, alas, when the same sidelong glance fell on Srimati Radharani, she did not feel Shastra Phalam. She felt it like what? Shastra Phalam, the pointed end of a sharp arrow. This is what happened here, devotees. Krishna's sidelong glance on Srimati Radharani. You can see her reaction.
Where the pictures are like,
Oh, we have to search for ages and ages to get one good picture.
this is wonderful.
Yes. Can you see how he was in Vrindavan? How unbothered with other people's pain he was in Vrindavan. How easily he used to put other people into difficulty in Vrindavan. But nature has a way of balancing things out. You will cry in Dwarka, Krishna. Let it be known that in Dwarka you will cry. This is the translation, Prema. Please read.
A single sidelong glance of Krishna on any other person in the world would be considered to be the sweet attainment of all the end of all Shastras, scriptures. However, the same sidelong glance on the gopis is considered by them to be the most painful attainment of the sharp end of a Shastra weapon.
Yes. This is a devotee poet's heart. If I don't include Shastra and Shastra in the translation, the effect will not be there. If I simply say scriptures and weapon, the translation will not do the job. What is there in the original has to be relished in the original. So I try to bring it as much as possible in the translation. So this was what was the stage of Purvara. But the river of love has to flow ahead. And there was one incident in which the gopis could see Krishna freely. And does anybody know which incident that was? Before Rasa Lila, Nanda Maharaj had organized a sacrifice for Indra. And then Krishna said, no sacrificing for Indra, we should sacrifice for whom? For Govardhan. And they all sacrificed for Govardhan. And then Indra suddenly sent down the rains. And then Krishna picked up the Govardhan hill and he was the center of attraction. And from all directions, everybody was free to glance at Krishna on that particular pastime. That is when Purvarag is technically a stage of separation. It is technically a stage of separation. It transformed into union because that is when they were all able to glance freely at Krishna. And when that happened, Srila Rupa Goswami celebrates it with a very wonderful, humorous pastime given in the Padyavari. And this verse is in the meter Shardul Vikreditam, same as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. Please sing after me. Duram drishti pathatiro bhava hare govardhanam vipratas. Duram drishti pathatiro govardhanam vipratas. Tvaya sakta drishah krishodari kara srastosya mabhudayam. Tvaya sakta drishah krishodari kara srastosya mabhudayam. Gopinamiti jalpitam kalayato Radha nirodhashrayam. Gopinamiti jalpitam kalayato Radha nirodhashrayam. Shwasa shaila varashrama pramakara kamsa dvisha pantuva. Shwasa shaila varashrama pramakara kamsa dvisha pantuva. Krishna is lifting the Govardhan hill. With which hand? Left hand or right hand? Left. With which finger? Pinky. So Krishna is lifting the Govardhan hill. And Krishna is looking at all the gopis nicely, and he is looking also at Nanda and Yashoda. Krishna's Purvarag has now ended because now they are technically in the stage of union. And the gopis are happily looking at Krishna. And then suddenly Srimati Radharani is ahead. She is, ahead of all the gopis. She is looking freely at Krishna. Suddenly, a gopi tries to play a trick on Srimati Radharani. The gopi says to Srimati Radharani, Duram Drishti Pathak, get out of the way. Get out of Krishna's way. Hero Baba, disappear from here. Chalo, get out. Hare, and can't you see Hari is doing something? What is he doing? Govardhana Vivrata. He's carrying out the task of lifting Govardhana. So he asakta drisha, if he becomes attached to looking at you, Premanand Prabhu, something will Krishna Udari Karasrasto, let it not fall from his hand, because if it falls from his hand, Mahapudayam, let that not happen, it's a major disaster. So in this way, the gopis were trying to play a trick on Srimati Radharani. Gopi Namiti Jalpitam, it was Prajalpa. What was it? It was Prajalpa. Is there Prajalpa in the spiritual world? Yes, there is gossip. There has to be gossip in the spiritual world. Rupa Goswami says Jalpitam. It was Prajalpa going on between the gopis. Kalayato. Somebody heard that. Krishna heard this gossip between the gopis. Radha Nirodha. They're trying to prevent Srimati Radharani. So then Krishna also has to do something. What to do? Now, if she listens to the gopis, then she will go away from Krishna's vision. So Krishna does something. Shwasha Shaila Bharashrama Brahmakara. Krishna starts healing. As soon as she starts to go away, Krishna starts breathing heavily and and all the gopis say, no, you stay right here. You're perfect here. Don't go away. Don't go away. We're joking with you. Sorry. Please stay here. Kamsa Dvisha. The poet also takes an opportunity to throw a pebble at Krishna at this point of time. Why? Kamsa Dvisha. Oh, you are the big enemy of Kamsa. You can defeat even Kamsa. But you develop jelly feet just as Srimati Radharani is going on. Where is your strength? Huh? So the poet is also sitting there simply to taunt Krishna. Kamsa Dvisha. May this heavy breathing of Krishna Pantuvaha protect all of you, dear devotees. Now, question is, how can the heavy breathing of Krishna protect all of you, dear devotees? It can protect all of you, dear devotees, because if at the moment of death you remember this heavy breathing of Krishna, it will protect you from repeated birth and death. I hope you are able to understand. Sometimes it is said in verses, may Krishna's hands protect you, may Krishna's lotus feet protect you. How does it protect you? Well, in your practical day-to-day life, it protects you because at the moment of death, if you are able to remember this picture, you drew the picture in your hearts. Everybody drew the picture? Yes. So if you are able to recall this picture, then the heavy breathing of Krishna will protect you from repeated birth and death at the very crucial moment when you need it the most. So this is the translation.
Translation. Please go far away from the path of Krishna's eye, O slender girl. Don't make Govardhan Hill fall from his hand, because he is absorbed in gazing on you. When Krishna heard the gopis' words to stop Radha, he sighed, and the hill began to slip from his hand. May those sighs of Lord Krishna protect you all.
This is the translation. The translation is like plain money. Where are the toppings? Where is the Kamsa Dusha? Oh, enemy of Kamsa. There is a sarcastic comment. So, dear devotees, many times I have said that verses do not need translations. Verses need transcreations. Verses do not need to be translated. Verses need to be transcreated in the heart of the devotees. So it is important to transcreate each and every verse in our heart. There are so many translations available in the mind. And if you buy a book, often you have seen devotees buy a book and they read a few pages and they say, I can relate to it. Read it later, close the book, then it is kept inside a cupboard and then it stays happily in the cupboard forever, right? So what is the purpose of a translation if it cannot transcreate the emotion in the hearts of the devotees? So the best thing is it's always emphasized that one should hear in an assembly of devotees. Live hearing. There is no replacement for live hearing because it is only in live hearing that the rasa is transmitted from the hearts of devotees to the hearts of other devotees. This is the painting, dear devotees. Can you see Srimati Radharani, Krishna glancing at her? The gopi is behind her, trying to tell her, move out of sight. This painting, please keep on the walls of your heart. Please always keep this painting. All right. When Krishna lifted Govardhan hill, he was very proud. See, I lifted Govardhan. So he always used to boast in front of gopis and Srimati Radha. That day I protected you. I saved your life. Never said that he was the one who got them into trouble in the first place. Krishna liked to boast about himself always. That's what he does in Vrindavan. So Krishna always used to boast about himself, and then one day Srimati Radharani decided to make a nice sarcastic comment upon him. This comment is recorded by Sri Bilva Mangal Thakur in this Krishna Katha, where she says that, I lost all my piety because of you. Same meter, Shardul Vikritam, same as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. Okay. Should we sing together or do you want to repeat after me?
We want to hear first.
Gurvyam kopi mahidaro lagutaro dorvyam dritolilaya. Gurvyam kopi mahidaro lagutaro dorvyam dritolilaya. Tena tvam divi bhutale cha satatam govardhanodharaka. Tena tvam divi bhutale cha satatam Vam Trailokya Dharam Vamirti me Naivatra Tad Ganyate. Vam Trailokya Dharam Vamirti me Naivatra Tad Ganyate. Kim va Keshava Bhashanena Bahudha Punyaryasho Labhyate. Kim va Keshava Purvyam Kopi Mahidharo. On the earth there was one tiny hill. Just an anonymous hill. Lagutaro, small hill. It's not like Kailash, not like Mount Everest. Lagutaro, small hill. Durbhyam Dhitol, and you playfully just picked it up on your arms. Just one small hill. Teratvam Divi Bhutale, and everybody is marketing for you in sky and in earth. Satatam, everybody is glorifying you. Govardhano Dharaka, oh lifter of Govardhan, oh lifter of Govardhan. See that Ravan, he lifted Kailash Parvat, and people criticize him even today. And he just lifted small hill, Govardhan, and in the heaven they are glorifying him, and on earth everybody is calling you Govardhano Dharaka. People don't understand one fact, Krishna. Society is very cruel. Never gives credit to genuine people. Even if you are Trailokya, even if you are lifting up the three birds, people don't realize one thing. I am always carrying you in my heart. You may be carrying Govardhan upon your hands, but I am always carrying you in my heart. Nobody gives, nobody considers that. What is the use of big speech? Okay, Keshav, what is the use of philosophical discourses and Bhagavad Gita? I should have been the most popular personality on earth because I carry you in my heart. But today everyone is glorifying you and people forgot about you. Keshav, you know what is the reason? The reason is very simple. Punya Yasho Labhyate. Actually, fame is attained only by pious activities by piety. And you know what? Because of you, I lost all my piety. You are famous, and I am not famous for this. You see, because she fell in love with someone who was not her husband. So she lost all her piety, because of which she has no claim in the world today. So this is the translation, dear devotees.
Translation. In a small field somewhere, you playfully held up a small hill using your hands, and now everyone on earth and heaven praises you as the lifter of gold. I, however, hold you, the maintainer of the three worlds, in my heart, and yet nobody counts that at all. O Keshav, what is the use of speaking big words? Fame is acquired only by pious karma, which I have not.
Why did she lose all her pious karma? Remember?
Because she left her husband.
She fell in love with someone who was not her husband.
He's a really husband because they married.
That is tattva.
That's why.
Don't spoil the mood of the.
Yeah.
We are really shaking.
But it's very interesting actually.
This is the world of spontaneous conflict. If we bring tattva there,
Yes, it can.
yes, it doesn't take long for the others to disappear. So this is the painting where she is making fun of Krishna. Krishna will cry when he remembers all this in Dwarka. Krishna has to cry. He has to cry for everything. And it is very nice that he cried in Dwarka. He deserves to cry in Dwarka, obviously. Because why? Because he left Srimati Radharani, who is our most worshipable object in the entire universe. Actually, we are primarily servants of Srimati Radharani. Krishna is a service as a side effect. Primarily, we are servants of Srimati Radharani. Krishna's service came as a free attachment along with it. That's all. Okay. So that is the mood of a Gaudiya Vaishnava. And we should always remember this fact. We always stand up for those who are least glorified. That is Srimati Radharani. So after a few days, in this way they used to, have their pastime. They used to meet. One day Srimati Radharani called Krishna to a Sanket Sthal. Sanket Sthal means meeting place. And as I said yesterday, Krishna was running on Indian Standard Time. So Krishna was 2 hours late. So Krishna was 2 hours late and she became very angry. So she left that place and she went inside her kunja. Kunja means it's a forest, power which they make where she can take rest. And on the gates of the kunja there is Lalita and Visakha sitting. Visakha is warm swabhava. She gives good hard-hitting replies to Krishna. Visakha is guarding the gate at that point of time. Krishna comes running behind because he was late. So Krishna has missed the appointment. Krishna is late. And then Krishna is standing outside and he is knocking on the doors. She is not responding. And then Krishna stands outside. He sits outside for a long time. And Krishna is with his hands on his forehead. Krishna is waiting what to do. What next can I do? And he's using chatu vachana. He's using words of praise in order to convince her. But she is not listening. And she is not listening because Krishna loves this mood of hers. That is the reason why she is not listening. Anukulyena Krishna Shilaram. Sorry for putting little tattva in this. Always favorable devotional service towards Bhagavan. Always a mood of favorability towards Bhagavan. So even though she is appearing unfavorable, it is very favorable to her. He perceives it as extremely favorable. That is the main condition of Uttama Bhakti. Anukulyena Krishna Shilaram. To always be favorably disposed towards Krishna. So she has some man. This is again stage of separation. We began with Purvarag, which was separation. Urvarak then turned to Milan, union. Now because of Man means sulkiness, there is again separation. So now we have entered into a stage of separation, it is called as Man. When Man, she is not opening the gates. Finally, Visakha Sakhi goes inside, he talks to her, she comes out, and she has a very strong worded message for us. So this is Visakha Sakhi's message to Krishna, who's waiting outside, and this is what she has to say. This verse is in a difficult meter, Arya. The meter is difficult, but we'll sing line by line, so it will become easy to sing. Sa sarvathaiva rakta. Sa sarvathaiva rakta. Ragam gunje vano mukhe bahati. Ragam gunje vano mukhe bahati. Vachana patostav ragah. Vachana patostav ragah. Kevalasya shukasyeva. Kevalasya shukasyeva. So Visakha Sakhi is saying to Krishna, Sa sarvathaiva rakta. My friend, rather my Sakhi, sarvathaiva, she is completely drenched in the color of love. What is the color of love, Prabhu? It's right there on your Kurta. What is the color of love?
Red.
Red. She is drenched in the reddish color of love. Ragam, her reddish color of love. Gunja iva is like a gunja seed. How many of you have seen a gunja seed, dear devotees? Yes, some of you. It's very important to observe nature in order to be a good poet. Very important. All good poetry is inspired from nature. Ragam gunja iva. Her raga, her love for you is like a gunja seed. For those of us who have not seen gunja seed, a gunja seed is a small seed which is almost reddish, but on its mouth it has a blackish color. Okay, for those of you who don't know this, you can visualize in your hearts. It's completely reddish, but on its mouth it is blackish color. Ragam gunja iva, her love is like the gunja seed. It's throughout her body, but just doesn't speak it through her mouth. No mukhe vahati, just like the gunja seed. Vachana patos, and you, word juggler, tava ragah, your love, kevalam asye, is only on the mouth. Not in your body. Shukasyeva, like the mouth of a parrot, which is only red at the mouth, but not red anywhere else. Kevalam asye shukasyeva. So your love is like the parrot's red beak, which is only reddish on the mouth. So your love is merely a lip service that you pay to Sri Radha. Whereas she doesn't speak because of her inborn humility, but her love is throughout her body. So these dear devotees, when Krishna heard this, he lost all hope and went back home that day. So Prabhu, please read.
She, Radha, is completely drenched in the brilliant red color of love, exactly like a gunja seed.
Okay. Those who have not seen dear devotees, that's a gunja seed. Okay, please you will remember. Okay, how does the gunja seed look? Ragam gunja iva. The entire body is reddish, filled with reddish color of love, but except for the mouth. Okay, please read.
O expert word juggler, Krishna, her love is not like your love, which remains only on the mouth, exactly like the red color of a parrot's beak.
Yes. This is man. Okay. Sometimes Krishna would. I hope you are not running over time. Please let me know. Okay. If somebody is getting late, please let me know. Because this is unlimited flow. So we'll try to do a few more verses. Sometimes Krishna would induce mana in some other sakhis also. Sometimes he would deliberately, play a game with Chandravali, and he would make her angry. Not only with Srimati Radharani, he would do the same with Chandravali also. So actually, he's incorrigible. No matter how much you try to correct him, from time to time he becomes incorrigible. I want to ask a philosophical question now between our flow of rasa. Premanand, can you answer a philosophical question?
Sure.
Does God make mistakes?
Sure. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
He makes mistakes?
In a way, yes.
Yes. Yes. In our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, our Bhagwan constantly makes mistakes, and for his mistakes, he gets chastised from time to time. So this is our Bhagwan in Vrindavan. So he is incorrigible no matter how much you try to correct him. So Sri Bilva Mangal Thakur, he describes a very beautiful verse. Meter is Shardul Vikritam, same as Shad Goswami Ashram. Radha Mohan Mandiradupagata Chandravali Muchiban. Radha Mohan Mandiradupagata Chandravali Muchiban. Radhe Kshemamiheति tasya vachanam Shrutva Chandravali. Radhe Kshemamiheति tasya vachanam Shrutva Chandravali. Kamsa Kshemamaye Vimukta Hridaye Kamsa Kvadrishtastvaya. Kamsa Kshemamaye Vimukta Hridaye Kamsa Kvadrishtastvaya. Radha Kveti Vilajjito Natamukha Smero Hari Patuba. Radha Kveti Vilajjito Natamukha Smero Hari Patuba. Radha Mohan Mandirad Upagatas. Our Bhagwan Shri Krishna one day came back from meeting Srimati Radharani. Dear devotees, we have to draw a painting. So one day, our Bhagwan Shri Krishna came back from meeting Srimati Radharani. Upagatas. He is coming back on the way. Chandravali, and on the way he saw somebody else. Whom did he see? Uchivan. And then he said to Chandravali something. He said, Premanand, what did he say? Radhe Kshemamiheti. Oh, Radha, is everything okay? Tasya vachanam Shrutva. Hearing this vachan, hearing these words. Chandravali replied back. Kamsa Kshemamai. Yes, Maharaj comes. Everything is okay. So Krishna is saying, I Vimukta Hridaye. Oh, foolish girl. Kamsa Kvadrishtastvaya. Where did you see Kamsa? So she replies, Radha Kveti. You tell me first where you saw Radha. Vilajjito, then realized, oh my goodness, I made a big mistake. Vilajjito immediately ashamed of himself, is trying to hide his face. Natamukha, bending down his face. Smero, and shamelessly smiling after bending down his face. Harihi Patuva, may these shameless smiles of Hari protect all of you, dear devotees. So an approximate painting of that, dear devotees. Please read the translation.
Translation. On a particular day, as Krishna returned from a secret place named Radha Mohana Mandiram, he found Chandravali on the pathway. He suddenly said, "Oh Radha, is everything okay with you?" Chandravali too replied back, "Yes, Maharaj Kamsa. How about you?" Surprised by this, Krishna replied, "Where did you see Kamsa?" To this she replied, "You tell me where you saw Radha." Realizing his mistake, he bent down his head and smiled. May that smiling Hari protect you all.
Yes. Smiling shamelessly. In my childhood, when I would, make some mistake, so there's always mother and there's always father. So any one of them would speak some chastising words. And even after that, sometimes I would be smiling. So my mother had invented a phrase for me. They say in Marathi, Nirlajjam Sada Sukhi. A shameless person is always happy. So that was my condition in my childhood. But Krishna's condition is also the same. Nirlajjam Sada Sukhi. Shameless and always happy in Vrindavan. So dear devotees, after this is a verse which we covered yesterday about how he placated Srimati Radharani's mind. Should we do that verse or should we move it? Everybody saw that verse yesterday when he touched his head to the shadow of the lotus feet of Radha, and wherein she also blessed him by placing both her hands on his head. So we'll read that translation very quickly.
Translation. In order to placate Sri Radha, Krishna voluntarily placed the shadow of his head at her feet. She too put the shadow of both her palms on the shadow of the head of Krishna. In this way, both of them, seated in front of their seniors, pacified each other and relieved their sulkiness. May this act of placation of Krishna and the loving forgiveness by Sri Radha be victorious in all the worlds.
Yeah, so this is the approximate painting, although this happened in shadow mode. Okay. So this is what happened.
So this is the one King Jayadeva Goswami or something.
Yeah. So actually the painting belongs to Jayadeva Goswami's Dehi Dehi Padapallava. Give me the shade of your lotus feet. And Jayadeva Goswami struck it out after the globe.
But then he came and corrected.
So now Radha and Krishna after Mahan are again together. And then there was the Rasa Lila dance which took place. And because the Rasa Lila dance took place, in Rasa Lila something happened. Krishna saw that all the gopis, they were becoming very proud of their good fortune. So Krishna suddenly disappeared. And then Krishna went along with only one gopi in the forest. Who was that gopi? Srimati Radha. And when he went with her, it is described in the Bhagavatam. These are verses from the Bhagavatam. Please repeat after me. Tato gatva vanodvisham dripta keshavam abravir naparayeham charitum nayamam yatra te manah eva muktah priyamah Radha arvyataniti tataschantartate Krishna Tavadur anvatapyata. So tato gatva vanodesham. So when Krishna went in the forest, Dripta, she was very proud. Keshavam abravit, she said to Keshav, Na parayeham chalitum, I can no longer walk in the forest. Nayamam, you only carry me. Yatra te manah, where you feel. So I can't walk any further. You carry me. Eva muktah, when he heard this, Priyamaha, he said to Srimati Radharani, Skanda Anruyatam, climb on my shoulders. I'm bending down, climb on my shoulders. So he went down, and she was about to climb on his shoulders. Tataschantartate Krishna, at that very moment, Krishna disappeared. Savadhur anvatapyata, and that lady cried there in the dark of the night. This is the translation.
As the two lovers passed through one part of the Vrindavan forest, the special gopi began feeling proud of herself. She told Lord Keshav, I cannot walk any farther. Please carry me wherever you want to go. Thus addressed, Lord Krishna replied, just climb on my shoulder. But as soon as he said this, he disappeared. His beloved consorted immediately felt great remorse.
Yes. Dear devotees, Prabhupada said one thing in the beginning, that you cannot find the name of Srimati Radharani. In these verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, is there the name of Srimati Radharani anywhere? Please see. Can you find the name of Sri Radha? No. Nowhere can you find the name of Sri Radha. But then there is a devotee poet named Sri Harisuri, and he cannot tolerate it beyond this point. That Shukadeva Goswami is not speaking her name, and Krishna has disappeared, and still Shukadeva Goswami is not speaking who she is in the forest. And so Sri Harisuri at that point of time composes a verse and speaks to Krishna on her behalf. This is Sri Harisuri's verse. Dear devotees. Meter is Vasanta Tilakam. Same meter as Brahma Samhita. Sarve jana bhuvi bhavantya paradhikastvam. Tesham shama karatiti prathita prithibhyam. Tat prarthayami bhagavanna paradhikatvam. Matyagato na navamarjaya loka garyam. Sri Harisuri says, and he's speaking on behalf of Srimati Radharani. Please hear carefully, dear devotees. Sarve jana, or each and every one of us, Bhuvi, on this planet Earth. Bhavanti aparadhikas, are we not aparadhikas? Are we not all aparadhis? Yes or no? Because we have turned away our face from Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So all of us are aparadhikas. What are all of us? Aparadhikas. Aparadhika. Tesham kshamakara iti. But if all of us are aparadhikas, then there is one person in the world who can forgive us, who is Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Iti prathitaha prithivyam. This fact is well known all over the earth. Tat prarthayami. Now I pray to you, Krishna, Bhagavan. Let everybody else in the world be aparadhika. You be the forgiver. Today, you do not become aparadhika. I hope you are able to understand. Apa means gone away from. Whom? Radhika. Everyone in the world is aparadhika. And you are the forgiver. But by doing this, Krishna, today you have become aparadhika, gone away from Radhika. And if you become aparadhika, then there is nobody in the universe to forgive you, Krishna. Nobody has the capability to forgive you. Matyagato, by giving up my association. Nanavamarchaya loka garyam. Don't earn this bad reputation in society of becoming aparadhika. Dear Krishna. This is the translation.
O Lord, all living entities in the world are aparadhikas, offenders, and you are the personality who bestows forgiveness upon them. This fact is well known in the entire world. Therefore, O Lord, I pray to you that you should never become an aparadhika, gone away from Radhika, yourself by giving up my company. Therefore, Lord, please return back.
Yes, very beautifully. The poet brings up the name of the gopi who is at this point of time experiencing great distress. What Shukadeva Goswami did not bring up, the poet commentator brings up in his commentary and lets the entire world know that it was none other than Srimati Radharani who was the lady who was experiencing great distress at this point of time. Dear devotees, the gopis tried everything to bring him back. Everything in the book. They sang the entire Gopi Geet. Yes or no? Did Krishna come back after Gopi Geet? We should all study these sections of the Bhagavatam. Time is running out. Okay? Krishna did not come back after they sang the Gopi Geet. Finally, all the gopis got together on the banks of the Yamuna. And all the gopis started crying out loud. And when they cried out loudly, at that point of time, Krishna came back in front of their vision. At that point of time, Sri Harishwari has a very important message for all of us. It's in the same meter, Vasanta Tilakam. Please repeat after me. आर्तः स्वरः प्रबुदयोदय कृत्यथा स्यात् स्वरः प्रबुदयोदय कृत्यथा स्यात् स्तुत्यर्चनादि विविधार्च वितान तादृक् स्तुत्यर्चनादि विविधार्च वितान तादृक् स्पष्टं यदत्र नुतिगीति कृतोऽपि गोपीः स्पष्टं यदत्र नुतिगीति कृतोऽपि गोपीः प्रीतो बभूव सदयोरुदतीरवेक्ष्य Artha Swara, dear sadhakas, all of you remember. Artha Swara, crying for Krishna. Prabhu Dayodaya Kridyathasyat will invoke such mercy. Stutyarchanadi, any other limb of bhakti will not evoke that mercy which will be invoked by crying for Krishna. The clear example of this is gopis, because they tried all limbs of bhakti in order to bring Krishna back. Spashtam, this is very clear. Yadatra nutigiti kritopi gopi. The gopis sang gopi geet. Is there anybody here who can compose gopi geets? But Krishna did not come in front of their vision. But Prito Babuva, Krishna immediately melted at heart. Sadayo Rudati Raveksha, when he saw the gopis crying for him. Therefore, dear devotees, one important lesson to learn is you may do anything in the world to satisfy Krishna. But the best way of satisfying Krishna is to cry for Krishna. If you can do this thing, the clear example set by the gopis is to cry for Krishna. That is the best way of bringing him in your life.
That's what we said about this.
Yes, exact same message given by the commentator. So, this is the translation.
The mercy of the Lord that can be invoked by crying out loudly for him can never be invoked by any other process, be it glorification, offering various items of worship, etc. This fact was clearly established when Sri Radha and the gopis, who otherwise could not attain the Lord through glorification, searching, etc., were able to attain the Lord immediately when they cried out loudly within the forest.
So, dear devotees, with this final message, please always cry for Krishna. I am pausing my Padyavali presentation. There were many other messages in the presentation today, but I don't want to extend it any further because it will be midnight. If we continue on the slides, it will be midnight. And I would like to respect the time factor at this moment. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Yadatra Skaritam Kinchit Vidvam Saha Purayantu Tat. Yadatra Saushthavam Kinchit Tat Guru Nahi. If there's any mistake in what I said, you are all Vidvans, learned people. Purayantu Tat. You correct any mistakes that I have made. I give that responsibility to correct any mistakes. Yadatra Saushthavam Kinchit. But if there was anything nice, if you liked a single sentence, a single word, a single syllable, half a syllable, please remember Tad Guru Reva. It belongs to my Guru Janas, my Diksha Guru, Shri Srimad Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj, my Shiksha Gurus, all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and all the Vaishnavas, including yourselves. It belongs to you. It doesn't belong to me. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada.